Hello guys, today's turned into a disaster. Someone reported their own walkover and then went into their next match when their opponent was actually there. So that's a new one. Oh, ay. Apparently it's just one of them days where it's just all gonna go wrong. It's all gonna go wrong. Alright, let me clean up a couple things. Yeah, I'm not in game because I've been trying to sort this admin thing, so I feel like we're gonna miss the entire first round, but I guess we'll just see what happens. Yeah, I don't really know what to say. Admin stuff sucks. Who just reports, like, he asked one time in chat if Percival was there, reported a walkover and started playing for the next match. I was like, then Percival shows up before walkover time. He's like, have I been walkovered? I'm like, no, you shouldn't have been. I look at the bracket and I'm like, oh, I see what's happened. Ay. That's my official statement. That is my official statement. I mean, I feel like that's like DQ worthy. To self-report your walkover and go into your next match. I don't know. I'm stressed out. Life's going too slow this morning. It's all happening. I don't have enough time. Breathe. Breathe. How's everyone doing? Hello, guys. Hello. I'm not gonna lie, I don't think it's gonna be a very good stream. I think we're gonna have like 2 or 3 best of 3s. Apparently no one else wants to try qualify for the Spring Championship. Which is making me think that we should just reduce the player count of the Spring Championship down from 20 to 16. Because, yeah, I don't fancy, just inviting a bunch of people. If people don't want to try qualify, then to me, it says that they don't want to play. So, I think that's my current thoughts on it. So yeah, maybe some adjustments to be made there. I don't know. Wonder if VWC being announced would motivate people to play the last qualifier. I'm pretty sure the majority of players knew EWC was going to happen for the past few weeks already. But behind the scenes, rumors have definitely been there that it's going to be a thing. Teams getting told that they should pick up players and stuff, and that StarCraft will be confirmed and so on. So it wasn't really. I don't think EWC announced really comes as too much of a surprise to the majority of people. Like maybe some players just aren't in the know. But I think behind the scenes, people were pretty confident that StarCraft 2 was going to be at EWC. So. Bum. Alright guys, let's take game on a game. Um... Okay, sorry, just sorting out the admin issue. I know I'm literally just sitting here in silence, but you know, a little bit of typing to be done. Alright. We're gonna get S-Deck and Percival started. I think I'm gonna go and I guess we're gonna cast this. Cool. Cool. Alright, we're gonna cast this, I guess, guys. Give us something to sink our teeth into a little. Get underway. How's everyone doing? How's everyone feeling? Good to see you guys. We're not going to join the game because they started without me. Oh my god, today's... You guys want to do just like a just chatting stream? Because like we're not watching any StarCraft at this rate. Jesus. They have these types of days. It is these type of days, honestly. Yeah, honestly, this is gonna sound bad. I'm so unexcited about today because A, it's gone to shit, and B, the bracket's pretty light anyway. I'm just like, we're gonna end up casting like a best of 3 or something. I think we'll actually end up casting probably Geralt, Jimmy winner, and then Bunny, winner. Maybe we'll go to Europe and see if we can catch Geralt and Jimmy between games. because everything's just gone wrong today. It really has. Gale and Jimmy performance in games. They're at least in game 2 unless they started very late. So I guess we'll just wait for them. Don't really have another answer. Alright. I think we're also at admin-wise. How's everyone doing? I honestly thought chat would be full of chatter about EWC and EPT. But apparently, Yeah. I thought there'd be chatter about feeling so sad. End of an era. Yeah. It's going to be very interesting to see where StarCraft goes. I was thinking about... I've obviously been waiting for this announcement for a long time because while I had a pretty good idea that... I had a pretty good feeling EWC was going to happen for quite a while. I've always been pretty positive about EWC. There was a point like 2 months ago I lost faith. But, while that, I always thought EWC was going to happen. I was thinking what else might actually happen with EWC this year. Like, if there's going to be, like, even, like, something of a circuit or not. So I was definitely thinking of, like, what we could do on my side in certain situations. So, yeah, I think my general... So I'm just going to talk because... we're out of the game. We don't have a game right now, so I may as well just talk and get some... I'm probably going to ask this on stream a few times over the next few days. We can crowd source some ideas. So, my line of thinking is... obviously, StarCraft 2 is going to be more community-focused. There's a few ideas I think we could implement to make that a better... like, to take, like, a better stance on that. For example, I think a lot of community organizers... maybe we should have community organizers come together and kind of have like an agreed upon map pool that we use, that we can rotate maps, but not like right now every community tournament uses a different set of maps alongside the ladder maps, right? I think it'd be really good if like the community tournaments like made a bond and were like, hey, let's all use this map pool until the end of April, and then we'll, you know, as a team of community organizers, maybe like we come together and we like talk about the maps, we ask the players about the maps, we make some edits. I think that would be really healthy, and then like every tournament kind of uses the same map pool outside of maybe the official ones. That's the problem if we still have official tournaments, but it's not like official tournaments are going to be going on all of the time. So it's not like the people are going to be constantly flipping map pools and stuff. So I thought that might be a cool idea. In terms of WardiTV stuff specifically, one of the things I think we need is ways for players to play more consistently if they want to. In the sense of, like, for example, like, with the WardiTV events, what typically happens is you sign up or qualify and you get invited, You play your group stage and you either win your group, and then you play a playoff day, and that's the tournament, or you lose your group and that's it. So basically you get to play one day, when from our point of view, the tournament is like, well, Spring Championship is going to be the whole of April. But for a lot of players, it's like, if you play in the Spring Championship and you get eliminated in Group A, you don't have a WardiTV event to play in for the next 3 weeks, other than potentially, like, WardiTV. You could play, like, the Open Cups, right? But the Open Cups are kind of a different beast as well. Like, Open Cups aren't for everyone. So I was thinking of trying to do more formats where maybe we can, like, more like European League and stuff, where it's like, we have, like, 2 big groups, and that group plays a match a week, every week for, like, a month or something, or 2 matches a week, every week for, like, a month. And so it's like, players don't just show up on a day and that's it, they're done. They always have something to, like, look towards and to play towards, rather than just being like, oh, that was my group, I guess I don't have much to play in again. It's like, hey, I played these couple matches. Maybe now I can look ahead, and next week I'm going to play this guy. I can prep that matchup a little bit if I want to, or at least I have something to still look forward to playing in. So it takes away a lot of the downtime they have in playing things, and then we have, like, a playoff at the end. Like, we've done this format before. Like, we've done the European League in the past, which is pretty much exactly like this. Just we could do it on a bit of a different, like, scaling. So, for example, these were 8-player groups, and so one group would play, like, every Tuesday, let's say, and the other group would play every Wednesday. So it just gives players, like, 3 weeks of being able to participate, rather than playing one group and you're done, you know? And then you play the playoffs over, like, a weekend, and then we maybe, like, start up again or something. Or do a different format. Like, it doesn't have to be... My point is, we already have the tournaments that you show up, you play a group, you're into the playoffs or you're out, and then you play the playoffs or you're out. We already have that format, so I think... I'm trying to think of formats that would help encourage players to continue participating in the rest of... You know what I mean? Like, in the rest of the league. And make it so that, like, the playoffs are important, but your way through the group is very important as well. Like, make your final placement in the group seed you further, so you're guaranteed more money from winning those games, or, each match is worth a bit of money as well. I think that stuff is something that's maybe very important now when players don't have other things to continuously take up their time, right? And I'm not trying to say that players want to be playing 24/7. It's not like you have to show up and play, like, 4 or 5 hours a night twice a week or something, right? It's like a best of 3 a week or 2 best of 3s a week. If you've got, a job or something, you can pre-play your matches. You can help you schedule. I mean, Korean Royale was a very similar idea to that as well. Where Korean Royale Season 1, that's exactly the same idea. You just have a match a week, 2 matches a week over, like, 2 or 3 weeks. I think this was a little bit of a more condensed one, but it was like, say 3 match days you have to show up on. Like, I've always thought this was an interesting format, and maybe we could extend it a bit for... I don't know. I don't know what you guys think. Like, do you guys think those sort of tournaments are better? Or do you guys think we just need, like, more... Hey, here's 4 groups, and here's a playoff bracket. That's our tournament for the next 2 weeks. I don't know whether it's worth trying to do stuff that's more drawn out. Because, like I say, I feel like right now, there's a lot of things where it's like, you can play in, and the real goal is to get top 2 to top 4, otherwise it's kind of like, eh. But the format's built around that as well, where it's like, if you do, if you lose on the first day, you don't get much, but that's okay. Whereas we could kind of build a system where everyone kind of gets rewarded a little bit just for participating. It's not going to pay anyone's bills, but it's like, I think it's healthier for the scene to have more consistent competition for more players. So I was kind of thinking about that stuff. I was kind of thinking about those ideas. My other big question mark that I have is whether we should do a campaign, a crowdfunding campaign. So in the past, we've done 2 big crowdfunding campaigns in the past. Those have been the Cast of Civil War. There's the Cast of Civil War, and we've done it twice for the Korean Royale. If I'm not mistaken. Yeah. Why does it always go back to season 2? But it doesn't mean the campaign's closed. Huh. But yeah, so we've done some crowdfunding stuff in the past where we've done like a real push towards like specific tournaments. My question mark is, because right now, well, my question mark is it worth doing a big crowdfunding campaign push or just like a WardiTV set of events this year where it's like, hey, we will run, you know, obviously we already got some money to run events this year. We have a stream that's making, you know, money. But like, do we do a crowdfunding campaign where we try to get more funds to try and run better events such as a beefed up European League or beefed up like Korean Royale or like those events I was just talking about? Is that worth doing? Is it better to only run a crowdfunding campaign for like a specific event? Like, do we just crowdfund for the end of year WardiTV Championship? Is that a thing? Like, do we just make that as big as possible? I hate the idea of making one event as big as possible. It really goes against my whole core idea as to what I've done for a long time, because one big event at the scale of what we do just does not ever go as far as running multiple still big events but not as big. Like, there's a big difference between a $1,000 and $5,000 tournament and even a $5,000 to $10,000 tournament, but there gets to a point where doubling the prize money of a $10,000 tournament to $20,000 doesn't actually change much. Like, and this is obviously kind of an interesting one, because it's like, it doesn't really bring in more viewers. It brings in the same set of players. You can't really extend the format any more than you already did. There's like a point where you're just adding money to reward people for being good in that one event. Whereas you could take, you know, for example, I would always say it's better to run two $10,000 tournaments than it is to run one $20,000 tournament, right? Which is why when we did Korean Royale crowdfunding, we didn't just put all the crowdfunding into Korean Royale Season 1. We said Korean Royale Season 2 would take the money after a certain point, right? And it gives us more content. That's the big thing. It gives us more content too. And I think we're in a day and age where I think the players understand they just have to play in as much as possible as well if they want to keep participating. So I think, but then I don't know if it's very difficult to kind of get people behind the idea of crowdfunding to, like, say I just said, I don't really like using the word circuit, but it's what I've used in the past. It just feels bad considering I talked about the ESL circuit just breaking up. But the WardiTV circuit, like, if we did a crowdfunder that was like, hey, this is for the WardiTV circuit in 2025, this year we're going to have, you know, we're aiming to put on the Summer Championship, a Winter Championship, and the end of year championship, maybe a European League as well. Your crowdfunding will help us flesh out those events, provide more money to the players, etc. I don't know if that's tempting for people to go and support versus being like, hey guys, we're making a big ass event, and people are like, woo! You know? Because I mean, I talk all the time about supporting tournaments on stream, but for example, Pig raised like $10,000 to $15,000 for his Pig Fest over the course of his tournament. For me to raise $10,000 to $15,000, I have to do like 6 months of campaigning on stream. But I don't know if it's a more solidified effort and being like, hey guys, look, you can make this happen. Like, I don't know if it's like the one event versus the cycle of events or the circuit of events is like going to be a big difference. Like, I don't know whether people would jump in to support the WardiTV circuit, let's say in quotation marks, more than you guys already support by just supporting the stream, you know? Because the reality right now as well is that my stream is not doing well, to be completely straight up and frank. And I say it's not doing well compared to how it has been doing in the past. We struggle for subscriber count. The ad revenue is struggling as well. One of the benefits we've had is that YouTube has been doing well, and so YouTube is making up for some of the problems we're having. but it's exceedingly difficult to run bigger, larger, and more expensive events right now because we don't have the same baseline funding that we used to have. Like the sub count, we used to average for the better part of the last 3 or 4 years, we used to average like 1,000 subs, and the whole idea would be like, hey, can we get back to 1,000? We'd go up and down. Sometimes we'd be a bit over, sometimes we'd be a bit below. But if we put in the time and we put in a little bit of the, a little bit of effort and push towards it, we'd pretty much always get back to 1,000. And now it's like, we can't hit 700 subs to save my life, the battle to get to 700 subs is an impossibility. And I don't know if, I also just don't know if it's like people take for granted what we put on as WardiTV. I don't think that's true for everyone, but I don't know if a lot of people are just like, oh, Wardy continues to produce tournaments, they're doing fine. Because we're really at a point where, I don't know if we should keep producing tournaments. I don't know if it's just a good time for me to say no. It's very conflicting. So I don't know what to... I don't know if doing, a specific crowdfunding campaign is going to... my fear is I'm going to do a crowdfunding campaign and people are like, oh, Wardy thinks he can make a circuit, and then the negativity is just not worth whatever we get. Oh, I don't know. I actually have no idea. It's rough. It's rough right now. I don't know what else to say. I do not know what else to say. Those things has to do with people having less to spend on hobbies and stuff. I don't disagree, but I mean, there's other StarCraft streams that are not having the same problem. There are other StarCraft streams that are very easily still cranking out subs and still cranking out content and able to get people behind supporting tournaments. Seemingly a lot better than I am. I don't know, maybe that's why I'm thinking maybe I don't crowdfund anything and I just sort of do what I can do on via my stream and we just let other people crowdfund. Because the problem is if too many people try to crowdfund events, then they all flop. So now if they all flop, so maybe I should just let other people who are better at crowdfunding stuff do their own events and we'll just kind of get by with whatever we can. Oh, I really don't know. I just want to try and help the scene. And try and keep StarCraft in as good a place as it can be. With the little things that we can do. Which is very much so, in the grand scheme of things, is very much so just out of our control, realistically. I don't know. I'm completely lost. Thank you so much for gifting a sub to Clem! Maybe it'll be better now the uncertainty's gone. Yeah, maybe. It might be. I just don't know what to do for the best. There are certain players that just don't play my tournaments because they don't like the formats and stuff or whatever. And that's fine. But I can't run a better format or a more concise format. I can't run a more concise format with a higher prize money because we just don't generate that kind of revenue to justify it, So maybe maybe the players just do not run stuff. I don't know. Maybe I should run less tournaments. But that goes completely against what I feel like is needed. I don't know. Thank you, Latrex, for the 6 months resub. Yeah, I have absolutely no idea. I think people tend to think I'll be fun in tournaments, whatever happens. Yeah. I mean, I think that's kind of the weird situation we put ourselves in, or the weird situation I've put myself in, right? Because we have pretty much always just been able to kind of keep tournaments going, and we have pretty much always just been able to fill in the gaps and so on. Yeah, I don't know. And then that like works against you, right? It's like we've done it so consistently that people, if people just assume that that's the case, then that's great. But then, to be fair, like, I mean, yeah, to be fair, I didn't really run many WardiTV events last year. We actually had, you know, the worst WardiTV ever. Like, we did so little last year, and no one seemed to care. So actually, it was like, maybe I'm overvaluing what the WardiTV tournaments bring to the scene anyway. You know, but like maybe I'm thinking a little bit too self-importantly of these events. Because yeah, I didn't run much stuff at all last year, and everything was fine. So, hard to say. Thank you, Growlong, for the 14-month resub on the Prime. Like I said, it's an interesting set of questions. Like, half of me feels like I should just try and run the crowdfunder that I was going to run if the news came out as it did, which it pretty much did. I'm just very hesitant. I don't know why. I think I'm scared to see it's going to flop, because I actually do think it's going to flop. Which is kind of crazy. Maybe I need some more self-belief. Jimmy, with the aggression here, we're watching Game 3 of this PvP between these two in the early rounds of today's qualifier. Jimmy diving in, full of confidence, Guardian shields on both sides, but the batteries there from Geralt going to make this fight a little bit easier for him. Guardian shield lasts a little tiny bit longer as the battery gets an energy overcharge. Don't think Jimmy breaks through on this one. It's a slightly faster third base from Geralt, and that's going to be his advantage coming out of this, but as the third finishes from Jimmy, it's not like Geralt has a severe worker lead or anything. So Forge and the gateway coming down, the Stalkers are going to step up. Stalkers go the other way. Didn't notice I didn't run that many tournaments last year. Yeah, I think comparatively, we've already run more tournaments this year. After the Spring Championship, we've probably already run more tournaments this year than we did last year. Yeah, why did they announce it at StarCraft last? I think the problem is they struggled to announce StarCraft at EWC because they didn't know what was going on with ESL. So I think it was kind of a weird case because yes, StarCraft was at EWC last year, but last year StarCraft was at EWC under ESL in the sense of it was under there as the ESL Pro Tour. So ESL had the licensing with Blizzard, and they took it to, you know, eSports World Cup, and you know they had the power to do that. Like they already had the system in place. So I think EWC didn't know what ESL were doing. ESL didn't know if they could afford to do the Pro Tour, and so ESL have been trying to find ways to make it work for a long time. And so eventually ESL decided that they couldn't make it work, and then because now eSports World Cup has to get the license to Blizzard directly rather than through ESL, it actually becomes a more complicated process apparently, with more question marks and stuff. So it's like, it wasn't just like Blizzard and EWC being like, yeah, let's have StarCraft there. There's also like, is it going to be there as like the World Championship at the end of the, you know, the circuit? Is it going to be there as a standalone event? You know, is ESL going to, you know what I mean? Like, ESL have a stake in eSports World Cup, but there's still some separation there, more so than I realized, honestly. So yeah. Kind of wild. I was very surprised by this as well. Stalkers blink up. Pylon goes down. Battery goes and gets depowered as well. A couple Stalkers coming back and forth. Given how consistent your tournaments are, viewers seem to not take them very seriously. Like, it doesn't mean much to win a Warrior tournament, although I cast some of the best players. Yeah, I think the biggest issue my tournament has is like, We don't get Serral and Maru. And so like yes, they're more regular. They have slightly less prize money, and it's missing arguably like what a lot of people would say are the two best players or two of the best players. And so they don't really carry as much. You're right. They don't carry as much meaning. I think there's actually a lot to be said that I actually think I've run so many events in general over the years that like I've devalued my own events. That's funny, no? It's surprising that EWC still goes with SC2 despite ESL's retraction. Well, yeah, EWC love SC2. They think it's a great game. The thing about StarCraft that it has going for it is it's a very prestigious game. Like, if you talk to a lot of people that work in eSports, so many of them have had some history in StarCraft. Even if they just played it a bit, right? Maybe not so much nowadays because there's a lot of youngsters coming in and StarCraft's like, actually, you know, when Legacy of the Void came out, they were still like, you know, in single digits of age. You know, but like, there's definitely a thing of like, there's just prestige to StarCraft 2, and having a name or title like SC2 at the eSports World Cup does a lot. They actually really like SC2, which is why I was very confused as to why it was taking so long to figure the whole thing out, because I never thought it was an EWC thing. I think one of the only things that seemed to be the case initially that I got the inkling of last year is that EWC was setting up to replace StarCraft with Stormgate, based on the hype that Stormgate had on being like the replacement of SC2, and EWC were kind of bought into that. They were like, whoa, a StarCraft 2 by the people that made StarCraft, only it's going to have now active development again. Like, that was very enticing. And then Stormgate kind of was not all that, at least not yet. And so EWC were like, oh, well, back to StarCraft, but then obviously StarCraft had its own issues as well, so yeah. GT's doing a lot here. Geralt obviously winning these fights. I'm more interested in having this chat honestly today. We're going to watch the StarCraft in the background, so if you're here to listen to straight up casting, today's not the day. Let me scroll up a little bit. Is the rest of the group stage slots going to be invites? There's going to be more slots for qualifiers tomorrow. I'm actually thinking of reducing the player count for this tournament. Because I actually would rather reward people who are playing in the qualifiers than people who are just waiting for an invite. So I'm probably going to just reduce the player count so that we don't have invites and just do it as a qualifier only. Maybe with like 2 invites for like players who played a lot of the qualifiers but didn't make it. But I don't want to do like 8 invites and like, you know, invite a bunch of people who didn't partake in qualifiers basically. That's what I'm currently thinking. Kind of confusing that Blizzard reload to ESL regarding esports and not make money of letting whoever runs tournaments. You can see ESL not want to hand over the prestige to EWC, but I thought we were done. I don't know what you mean, Biggins. Yeah, sorry, I'm not sure what you mean by the question. It's one of the best games to watch. Yeah, StarCraft's great. Yeah, StarCraft has a high level of respect. Do I make more for my weeklies or the bigger tournaments? I don't know, actually. I think weeklies are a problem because Open Cup signups generally have less viewership than preset matches. Like, people... The order of viewership usually goes like Open Cup signups, and then like group stages with like, you know, the idea of like, you know these 4 players will be in a group. And then like just knowing straight up, this is a bracket with these 8 players, that will get the most viewership just naturally. Like, if you had the 8 same players and they signed up to an open tournament, they played across 2 group stages, or they played where like you don't know who's playing who, or you just have a straight up set bracket. The set bracket will always have the most viewership. So that's like a thing. Weeklies are generally very inefficient. Like $400 for one stream is very, very expensive. Usually it costs me, in the past it used to cost me like $50 to $100 to stream every day. I would say nowadays it's closer to costs about, I would say closer to like $100 to $200 to stream every day in terms of having to put on prize money. So it's very expensive right now, and weeklies don't help with that. Like weeklies, the thing is, weeklies have been, people have become accustomed to weeklies being $400. And the problem is like the weeklies only do well right now because we get very good players playing them, considering it's an open cup. But they're only there because it's $400, and $400 is not just you can't make $400 in a stream. Like it's just not possible. Like for full transparency. So for example, on ad revenue, the most recent WardiTV Monday ad revenue $115. The Monday before that, we made $163 on ad revenue. The Monday before that, we made $148 on ad revenue. And we don't really, like, subs are such a, like, fickle thing. Like, subs come and go so frequently, and, like, they don't really seem to be linked to a tournament. People just seem to sub whenever their sub is up, when they're feeling generous. Like, I don't feel like people subscribe on Mondays, because it's like, it's the Monday Cup. So that part's very hard to say. But basically, for a $400 tournament, we're making $100 to $150 back on Twitch. Say we make $50 back on YouTube, that's $200. Let's say on a good day, you know, some of those are lower. So we make $200 back on ad revenue on a weekly. To make up $200 on other revenue, that's like... What's 200 like? It's like 70 subs. When was the last time you guys saw me get 70 subs in a day? Doesn't happen, right? So yeah, weekly open cups are very inefficient, which is why the bigger tournaments generally do better. Because, for example, this $5,000 WardiTV Spring Championship has 3 playoff days, 4 group days, 4 more group days, and we've done 4 qualifiers. So that's 15 days. So this costs me $330 a day to put on. But it also has some of the elements which are, like, it has a bigger draw, so it's a little bit more worth spending more for. So it's cheaper than a weekly, with most likely a better draw. Like, the majority of these days for the Spring Championship should at least hit the same viewership as a weekly. Like, qualifiers have already been hitting the same viewership as a Monday weekly. And because when you have the group stages as well, the player list is known from the start. For weekly, the viewership goes up much more slowly. Whereas for, like, a day where people know who's playing, the viewership jumps up much faster at the start, so you get that better chance to make more revenue from the very get-go. So it helps a lot. Top players are not persistent because the prize money is low, which is low because the top players don't draw in viewers. Actually, I think the top players do draw in viewers. I think the problem with my tournaments is just the players... I think the top guys just think they're super convoluted and they take a lot, but like, at the end of the day, even the Spring Championship, you play group. If you play Group Stage 1, like, if you're a really top player that could win the event, you could have qualified into Group Stage 2 already by playing a Monday, where you get paid, you win, and you get a Group Stage 2 invite. But say you just qualify into Group Stage 1, you play 1 day, 3 hours, usually max, 3 hours max, day 1, 3 hours max, day 2, and you probably have to play 2 out of 3 playoff days. That's 4 days you have to play in the Spring Championship. To potentially take home like $2,000. Like, don't get me wrong, that's not like killer money, but it's not bad money per day. It's not like yes, this tournament's drawn out, but it's not like each player has to show up for like 12 days, you know? Like, there's been like Masters Coliseum, you have to play, like, don't get me wrong, Masters Coliseum has a much higher prize money, but you've got to show up like more than 4 days just to play in the playoffs of Masters Coliseum, never mind your group stage, you know? There's been a lot more convoluted formats than what I do. Yeah. Did I know about ESL ending before the official statement? I knew on Monday. They sent us an email on Monday outlining stuff and saying the announcement was coming on Monday, and then the announcement didn't come on Monday. So I knew on Monday. But it was pretty, like, honestly, the announcement is pretty much what I expected. I seem to know, I knew EWC was going to be at StarCraft. I had a pretty good guess. Like, we were just waiting for confirmation. It was kind of scary it wasn't being confirmed, but we kind of knew. And the presumption was it was way too late to have a circuit anymore. Like, it was clearly going to be problematic, so... You thought ESL weren't going to win more turns for SC2? They're not. I mean, they're not going to run a circuit. They might run like a one-off event here and there, but they're not running a circuit. They are no longer the StarCraft 2 home of StarCraft 2 eSports, right? Like, they don't run a circuit now. That doesn't mean they can't put an event at a DreamHack if they want to. They could run a one-off event. What they can't do is they can't do a circuit. They just said it's not financially viable to run a circuit, and there's no point running a circuit with less financial being put in, you know? So yeah, ESL are in that regard, very much so. Just like they could still run tournaments, they're just not going to run the circuit, and in not running the circuit, they're also not having anything to say. There's the same thing with balance patches. ESL took the lead on balance patches. That doesn't mean there's not going to be balance patches. It just means ESL will not necessarily lead those or direct those around the timings of ESL tournaments, etc. Like, ESL had a big stake in StarCraft, and now they just step back, you know? Will we still be keeping 2 group stages? We'd still do 2 group stages if we just play a pool, yeah. Sorry, my chat. I'm catched up on chat. I'm a little bit behind. I also get €1.5 per sub after Twitch Shakes. No, I get much more than €1.5. I'm on the premium partner plan, so I get 70% of whatever the sub count cost is. When I say costs me, does this mean prize money or opportunity cost, stream sub, and electricity? No, literally just prize money. Like, it costs me that much money to go live because I need content. It used to be a lot cheaper because a lot of other people used to make tournaments that I could cast, so my cost to go live was a lot cheaper, because if half the days I went live was a WardiTV tournament and half were not, then in theory, like, I'm putting the same amount into WardiTV events, but I get more streams to make it back on. But now that other people cast other tournaments and I can't go live as much and there's not as many other tournaments, my revenue from those went down a lot. So it costs me a lot more to go live every day. Well, it costs me a lot more to go live every day because I have to put more WardiTV tournaments out now, but it's not only that's gone up, it's also more difficult to bring in the revenue otherwise. Like, the less other tournaments I get to cast, the more difficult it is, or the more expensive it is for me to go live, because I have to put out more of my own tournaments to go live, right? I don't know if I know this, Boogie's offer odds on a few of my tournaments. Yeah, I know. That's why tournaments with 3-set matches do way better. Gambling actually brings in a lot of StarCraft viewership. Alright, we're gonna go into Benny versus Geralt in a few moments. Maybe I should drop the weekly. Well, the weekly right now is powered by... Sorry, I'm like 4 minutes behind on chat. The weekly right now is powered by a couple of other people. So like Loco, Winter, and OSC all put money into funding the weekly. So the weekly itself, like, I would never put on a $400 weekly because it's literally not attainable, right? But Loco and Winter pay into the weekly, and for it they get immediate replay pack access, which is very valuable to them. In fact, we're going to pretty much extend WardiTV replay pack, like, premium access to, like, the content creators, because it might be one of the ways we can continue to make money for events as well, right? You know? So we're probably going to put... And also, we live stream everything on YouTube now. So we live stream everything on YouTube. So in the past, I didn't like giving my replays out super quick because my YouTube would lag behind my streams. So if I gave out my replays, all my games would be on YouTube by 5 other creators before they went live on my own YouTube. At least now there's a live stream, you know? So, like, at least now they're on YouTube. Like, I will still upload separate versions later, and they will be behind everyone else. But the fact that my stuff goes on YouTube live and, like, fresh still now, it's a big difference. So, definitely makes it a bit better. Okay, thank you, my Amaranth, for the 23-month resub on the Prime. We just need 1 billionaire. Yeah, we need 1 StarCraft 2 fan billionaire. The unfortunate thing is I don't think billionaires become billionaires by investing in StarCraft 2 tournaments, but... Here's a silly idea. Open Cup becomes pre-register a few days in advance, and now the bracket is fixed. Yeah, sadly that becomes that's a lot more complicated than it sounds. It's a lot more complicated, yeah, than it sounds. Polum, thank you for the 50 bits. Do I have an exit strategy from SC2 or some plans? Let me answer that one when we come out of that, so people can hear. It's a question I'd like a lot of people to be able to hear the answer to. Oh, bunny bottom left, cow bottom top right. Like I say, guys, a little precursor. We're doing a lot of talking to chat. So, apologies that if we don't talk as much about the game. Today is just not one of those days to talk as much about the game. I want to see Garrett qualify, he plays all the time. Yeah, Garrett and Bunny both played a lot of these qualifiers. You know these guys are probably getting invites if they don't qualify, but I'd be very shocked if they didn't qualify over the next 2 days as well. That's nice. So yeah, the question was, do you have an exit strategy from SC2 or some plans? I have no exit strategy from SC2 because, I mean, as far as I'm concerned right now, there's no need to exit from SC2 because I think it's still possible to be an SC2 streamer. Like, Warcraft 3 still has a lot of events. Like, there's still people who stream Warcraft 3 full time. There's just going to be an adjustment period. What I need to do is figure out what sort of level my tournaments are going to be at and what we're going to adjust to, right? That's the big question kind of up in the air. That's the part that I don't really know about right now. So no, I don't have an exit plan because my plan is to keep making StarCraft content. The question mark is whether or not, like... the question mark is, what should I aim the content at? Like, should I, like... I discussed this a lot earlier when we had less people here, but basically, like, do we run more bigger tournaments? Do we continue to just run as many days as possible? There's a, you know, what can we generate support for and so on? So, yeah. As the Reaper hops up, pulls back down. Let me scroll down chat a little further. Oh, we caught back up. I caught back up to chat, lovely. Nice. So yeah, like I say, there's a lot of questions to be asked. I was already saying earlier, I don't know whether the current approach should be to... Yeah, like basically the TLDR I'm having right now is I don't know whether to do a crowdfunding campaign to help run the WardiTV events this year, and to just have like a good kind of chunk of money to help us really kind of flesh out some tournaments. The thing as well is if we do a crowdfunding campaign and we can flesh out some tournaments, maybe bring in a couple of extra players, maybe make them look better, it's then much easier to help generate revenue from those events, right? It's like there's a double whammy. If you get like an investment, like say we crowdfund and we get a tournament to be a bit bigger in the first place, we can then make more off of that same tournament. So it's like there's a benefit to growing it before we do it. Whereas like say during the Spring Championship, I'm like, right guys, during the Spring Championship, anything you donate to the stream will go into the prize pool. That doesn't do anything. That changes nothing. You've already got the same players. It does not change anybody that's going to watch. Like, I mean, genuine question in the chat then. How many of you guys would change being here? Like, how many of you guys would change watching the tournament specifically based on the prize money? Like, to an like, if you have the same 4 players in a group, does it matter to you? And now here's the difference. So, does it matter to you if it's a $2,000 tournament or a $3,500 tournament? Because to me, like, I never see a difference in running a 2,000 to 3,500. Now, what I like to do is to run bigger prize pool tournaments because it can bring in more players, and I do think there's something of a standing where it's like, if I can say that this is a bigger WardiTV event, it does bring a few more people in. But generally speaking, like, once a tournament is set, it makes no difference if someone donates $2,000 to the prize pool. It's nice for the players, but it doesn't help the tournament, right? But if they put $2,000 in before the tournament starts, then that tournament can be bigger, a bit grander, a little bit more exquisite from the very get-go. That is going to be more so what's more convincing for maybe some different players to play, and then more so maybe for people to actually watch as well. Like, because if we can make it out as though it's a bigger event, that I think is very important too. Now, some people will be very vocal and be like, well, Clem didn't care about this tournament because it's only got like $500 first place prize. It's like, you think Clem's like, I'm sure Clem doesn't show up to a Wardy tournament and plays like he's playing in the EWC finals. But like he's not going to play much different because it's $500 versus $650, you know, like. So yeah, I think there's got to be. So that's what I mean about the idea of crowdfunding. Like, is it worthwhile doing a crowdfunding campaign? And now that we've got some more people active in the chat, I will ask again. Would you guys get behind a crowdfunding campaign that was specifically for WardiTV events this year, building up into like the WardiTV 2025 championship? Because right now we will have a WardiTV at least Summer Championship and probably like a European League. I would like to do a Korean Royale as well. We will definitely be doing those things already. But would you guys like to support that, get behind it, and then help us to grow that? Because like I say, if I have that investment of money straight away, like that's what I need to know. Like, I don't want to do a crowdfunding campaign that caps out at like $1,000. I'm like, well, that's kind of awkward, right? I'm going to run a poll in the chat. Hang on. Meanwhile, this fight's happening, and let's watch this fight, and I'm going to run a poll in the chat. Is there a Wardy Patreon for crowdfunding support? Yes, the Patreon is patreon.com/WardiTV. That 100% of what you guys pledge on Patreon goes into tournament prize pools. It's always been my way of kind of making sure that if you guys want to put in $10, that $10 will end up in the pocket of a player. Even if we only get $9.50 because of transaction fees, I will make sure that if our overall amount that was set was like, say the overall amount was like, right now I think it's like $830. $830 will 100% go to players. Even if we only receive $805 because of transaction fees, okay? Like, that's what we've always promised from the Patreon. Because I want to encourage people, if you just want to support tournaments, the Patreon is a fantastic place to do that. The thing with Patreon is it's... the thing with doing a crowdfunding campaign, though, is that people get behind those so much more heavily than they get behind, oh, I can subscribe and help more StarCraft happen. If people can be like, whoa, we made this number happen, we raised this much, like, that's like, it's like a community thing that happens and takes place. So it's a lot more powerful. Like, we would have never made the Cast of Civil War as big as it was if it was like, hey guys, subscribe if you want to see the Cast of Civil War, or donate if you want, you know what I mean? Like, it's very different when you do that. So yeah, now that the third has died, let's put this poll. Would you support crowdfunding campaign for WardiTV 2025 events? Meanwhile, Bunny's back over here again. Alright. I'm gonna put this poll up because I'm genuinely curious. The poll's up. You guys want to vote on it? I'm genuinely curious how many people... I mean, I understand that clicking a button is very different to actually going out and doing it, but I really need some, like, belief right now that it's worth doing it, because I'm not actually convinced. I don't know why, like, I have so much self-doubt at the moment about doing it. As this Colossus is going to go down. Bunny's in a very good position. This was probably fairly self-explanatory when he completely denied the third base. As a Bio-Fight Colossus goes down, yeah, Galt's just going to be dying. Better for donations not to go to the current event, but go into future events. Yeah, but the problem is, like, it's much it's much easier to crowdfund when you're like, hey guys, do you love this tournament? You can support. Like, people are more likely to give you money when you're like, here's the action right now, rather than, hey, if you give me some money, I'll make the next event higher prize money. Because the thing with the way that regularly donating and stuff goes as well is if you just make a regular donation, or you're encouraging people to make a regular donation, there's no sense of community, like, oh, if I do it, other people might get behind it, right? Whereas if you have, like, an actual crowdfunding page, people are like, whoa, I can see other people doing it. There's a more centralized place to do it. And then, like, it almost encourages other people as well, right? looking great in this game 1. I'm surprised Bunny hasn't qualified already. So yeah. He wins that game 1. This is a qualifying match as well, by the way, guys, but like I say, I think there's a lot of different things to look at today. Let's have that poll. Did you guys not see the poll? Why? I mean, the poll just doesn't show up in my I'm not seeing the poll at all. Did you guys not see the poll in the chat? Don't Twitch polls show up? Hang on. Nothing? Yeah, I don't see it either. Oh, yeah, new poll. Would you support? Alright, let's try that. There. It should be at the top of chat this time. I actually see it this time. I just didn't see the poll. Incredible. Maybe Cyril and Reno will play online more online now that ESL isn't happening. Yeah, I don't think Reno has any interest, because I don't think Reno is that bothered about continuing to play StarCraft. I think Cyril might play a couple extra things. I think Cyril... I mean, I think Cyril looks at a lot of tournaments, he's just like, you know, it's not quite as high prize money and stuff, but like, a lot of the time when you ask him, he'll play and stuff. Just every time I ask him, he has a good reason not to play, apparently. It's not like he doesn't play any online stuff in this day and age, it's just... it never works out for WardiTV events. So, yeah. You guys see the poll this time, right? Yeah, way more people voting. Help Bros pull through. SCV's taking damage. I do think, like I said, I think one of my, like... I do think one of my fears of running a campaign is, like, I don't want... I am afraid of just negative backlash, and I really do feel like people... I don't want people to be like, whoa, why does Wardy think, like, he can run, like, the circuit? Like, I'm not trying to be the circuit, I'm just trying to run events, you know? But, like, there's a lot of people that want to try and run events as well, so, like, it's very scary making competition between other people. Making support WardiTV as one of the Patreon tiers would be cool. How do you mean? Or like support the stream instead of tournaments, or... Can you just donate to me now for future tournaments? Yeah, I mean, the donation link is always open. If you ever want to donate for tournaments, and you specifically wanted to go for tournaments, you can just tell me and I'll make sure it goes there. The benefit of being a one-man show is that his stuff's very malleable, you know? In regards to poll, you're fairly certain you would not support it if you hadn't been part of this conversation right here, if you hadn't been personally engaged. I think that's like streaming in a nutshell. A lot of the time, this is what baffles me about like truly massive streamers, right? That they are so big that like there's a funny drop-off with like huge streamers where there must be a drop-off where certain people won't support big streamers because a lot of the reason people support stuff on Twitch is because of that interactivity and that personalized, you know, accessibility to the streamer. And there's like a certain level of streamer, right, where it's like that's just not possible anymore. And yet obviously they still rake in the subs and they still rake in the support, right? And I always found that very fascinating. That's also why, I mean, you can see that as well in my stream because, for example, my viewership does not reflect... My viewership versus subscriber count is not that of a typical stream. You know, like there are many streams who have a 1/10 of my viewership count that have 4 to 5 times my subscriber count. You know? Which is why we lean so heavily into running ads on the stream. because running ads on the stream is extremely important, because we typically have much higher viewership than we have support. Because there's a lot of people who are just here, to be fair, to watch the games or to watch the players. They're not here to listen to me. They're not here to hear me being a personality or giving my opinion or anything. Holy! Yeah, I was thinking what to say, but Doris in the chat says, I think the best one. Montian with the £1,000 donation. The fan billionaire is here. The 1K for whatever turn we want. Thank you so much, Montian. I will we'll put it into something. Alright, let's drop some love in the chat for the 1K, guys. Montian going huge! We'll put that towards I'm not sure what, but we'll put it towards one of the next whatever's coming up next, I guess. I haven't completely planned out the year yet because, like I say, we're deciding what to do, but that works. Put it towards some fixed bracket event. We did a winter championship once where the entire bracket was basically just like double elim, like 16 player. I think 16 player double elim would be very fun. I think that would be. I actually think like a double elim 16 player bracket would be something we just don't see anymore. I think that'd be pretty sick. Maybe we do that. I want a tournament like that at the very least. Holy, thank you so much, Montian. I appreciate it. Put it towards the Ice Link Challenge Cup, yeah. Incredible. We're thinking advertising or at least talking about something like this at TL.net could help increase the amount of people who feel personally engaged. Yeah, I mean, that's the thing with a crowdfunding campaign as well, though. It's like, if you're doing a campaign, you almost have reason to like put the word out there and to like, you know what I mean? You have reason to put the word out there and to like interact and to do things as well. That sort of stuff, I think, is always. I mean, the whole point is getting out there and reaching people and convincing people it's a good thing to support, right? And yeah. If you ever win the lot, you put up £100,000 for WardiTV. You'd think with how many StarCraft fans we have, surely one of us wins the lottery, right? Oh, huge shutdown from Geralt. He gets a medevac kill. He's going to get 2 medevacs killed. Great catch. Is the bio coming through the bottom side, going to chase those stalkers. Marine Marauder on the hunt, and very much so going after those stalkers here as they start to blink back across the gold minerals and peeling away. And yeah, huge loss for Bunny. Complete drop denial. I mean, these units obviously now stranded on the bottom side for the foreseeable future too, so no pressure able to be applied. His tank push is going to be extremely depowered. If he was thinking of pushing at the front while also dropping, well, that's just completely taken off the board as an opportunity now as well. I'm just going to try and place the third CC in position, so yeah, it doesn't not really seem like he's going to have intentions to move out. The Stalker is going to get the SCV and delay that a little further, though, so that's going to be a little frustrating. That Stalker will go down. Scanning about, again, a few Zelds coming through the Colossus, +1. Thermal lands coming in, we got the extra gateways on the way about, assimilators coming through too. The Stalkers will get a Widow Mine, so it's going to be able to nab that already, so we're going to get that kill. Now there's Zelds coming through the upper right side as well, the bio up to the top, Medivacs and Marauders and Marines hanging around here. The Nexus on the upper left, so the Bio's going to be able to grab that. Meanwhile, on the right side, it's actually cancel on the third. Okay, Bunny's in trouble. That was a successful crowdfunding campaign. Yes. Mission success, guys. My goal was to bait a big donation today. We did it. Thank you. I don't think I even need to end the stream, right? We're just gonna call it after this game, I think. Yeah. Monty and the Legend. Has been for many a year. If we're being real. All according to plan. We take a few moments, a couple of Vikings gathering the Raven right there with those Vikings as well. We'll just settle. Storm, armor upgrade, Disruptor. Coming about to the army of Geralt starting to move through the center of the map. Just pushing over to this right-hand side. We have ourselves the, again, Dark Shrine, Forge, Nexus, all building into play. The army of Bunny just sat across at the moment. Okay, is Indy in this game? Oh my god, Indy's here and I didn't even realize. You've had me observing badly. Now Indy's gonna get to, now we can just follow Indy instead. Insane. This guy coming about. Army continues to gather around, so we settle here for a few moments, getting set. Just seeing a couple of gates, Dark Shrine coming through, Prism in the +2/+2 coming up as well. I bring as much of that in as possible. A couple of tanks going to be firing away also. Good defensive position from Bunny, but Geralt just has the numbers. Obviously, the way this game opened up, this is where we've gotten to. You see our Zealots coming across. And that Shadow Strike coming up, the 2-2 upgrades coming in, add those Medivacs on as well. As you have our Vikings going to try and take a step forward, just see little shots or two coming about. Strong Zealots coming up from the Prism. Go back and forth. I mean, Bunny just trying to hang on in there to get maxed out. If you can max out, maybe arguably you can find a fight. However, we really are doing the right thing as Geralt. He's expanding heavily. He's just going to keep things moving. Storm coming down, the missile turret's going to fade away. 18 dead SCVs, so Bunny's economy is in shambles. Bunny's probably going to get one chance to push across the map here sometime soon. And that's going to be it. Like, realistically, he's going to have one shove, one push. There's not really a lot else you can look to right now, right? So, go for one attack and then just see where we end up. What might happen as we have. Some movement. Just going to be seeing the CC going about as well. Crazy. The next disruptor shot trying to come about. Full push coming straight through them. I mean, the Zealots just pulled an absolute havoc. Geralt's army supply is low though, and I mean, if there's a chance for Bunny, this might be it to kind of go for a little bit of a shove forwards. GG's. And Geralt's going to take game number 2 of this best of 3. Alright, we're getting game 3 in the qualifier match. Exciting. All went wrong for Bunny losing that first drop already. That's pretty noteworthy. What's a realistic number for each viewer in chat to donate in order to run a tournament that you and the players would be happy with? And it's a very broad question, because you can, I mean, you can run a $400 cup and people are happy with that, right? But like, it depends what you're trying to run and it depends what you've got. There's a lot of questions. Lambo might play the Boom and Bash finals from Korea. Yeah. I'm gonna message him. I've been a little bit caught up the last couple of days, but I'm gonna message him and try and get that sorted. Ridiculous, you can warp in that many units at one time. And you can also build that many units at one time over barracks. Pretty sick as well, no? You get like 20 Marines popping out at home every 20 seconds. It's insane. Insanity. Terran can't do it in someone else's base. Well, they can't. But that is the power of each race working in different ways. Protoss have no reasonable way to doom drop a Terran player. So, you know. All works differently. It's the fun of StarCraft. Yo, say, thank you so much for the 10-minute resub, mate. I appreciate it. Love your streams. Appreciate it, man. Thank you as we go into game 3 of this Bunny Geralt series. Okay, similar coming through. Racks and the gas coming up. And get settled down. What are we going about? Cybercore coming over. Couple of CVs nibbling. How will EWC be seeded? There's no information on that yet. What are the chances of qualifying offline tournament, do you think? Like DreamHacks or GSL before the EWC? I have no idea. That really depends on how much EWC would like to put into that, right? EWC, so EWC did have, for example, like when I was at Dallas last year, EWC did have, you know, stages there or areas there for like FIFA qualifying and so on. So it wasn't as like cool as the StarCraft stage or as grandiose, but like they were there, so it's possible. It just depends what they want to do with it, right? Is the W and EWC for Wardy? Yes. The eSports Wardy Cup. Maybe it's just nearly time, guys, for us to make the WSL, the WardiTV Star League, you know? Still gonna hit Helene, take some damage. Stock stepping through, Helene coming across. This can be seen the blink coming in. Medevac and the SCVs coming up as well. That's only just going to poke around. A bit of damage. Nothing too wild early on. Adept will chase around by a few SCVs. Marines coming about as well, so figuring out where we're going to go, what we're going to do. Marines will just go and get rid of that Adept, so the Adept will go down. Just going to be seeing that picked off. Medevac goes down as well. As Blink finishes up, Garrett can obviously put some pressure onto this map. I imagine that's going to be one of his main priorities here in these next few moments. I've got to think that that's going to be part of his plan once we get that settled in. Everything going to be pretty chill though for a few moments. Stim coming up, Interference Murderix +1 attack. Again, those few Stalkers continue to gather together, so they will join up and will get set. After taking damage on the factory, Stalkers will get shot back. The tank's going to push that away the other side. Well, not much going on, just chilling with these Stalkers. It's anything that when the amount people have to donate in order to support is whatever people can afford, you think it tends to make people not donate as much as, say, a gold, silver, bronze level support tier list, etc. That's true, but then it's very... You turn a lot of people off if you just try and push them to support a certain amount and so on, right? The problem is, in this day and age, there's only so many benefits we can give to people for supporting the stream as well. Like, I already put a crap ton of time into just streaming and, like, you know, making tournaments and stuff. It's very difficult to do bonuses to, like, encourage people to support and so on. It's a... At the end of the day, I guess the reason to support is just because you want to see more StarCraft. But that's not always a good enough reason for people to support a lot of the time, you know? Like, obviously, the subscribers get replay packs, but the replay pack's the only real kind of, you know, truly decent thing we can give out. Like, I mean, you could do some other bonuses and stuff. I mean, we used to have, like, bonuses for certain tiers on Patreon, but the reality is, I don't think 99% of people want that stuff anyway. I mean, those tiers still exist on Patreon. Like, if you go to Patreon, you can be a Wardy Heart or a Wardy Gold or whatever, you know. But at the end of the day, like, they're really just a name. Like, they're just like different options that people can click on instead of putting in what they think, you know. Kind has changed. Thank you so much for the 10 gifted subs. Let me cast this drop, because it is killing the main base of Geralt at the moment, and then we'll come back to who they went out to. As the bio continues to hit, a bunch more probes going down, a few results here and there dropping, the Nexus on the front. We're going down as well as the medevacs load up. I'm going to peel away up through the top side. And Colossus is doing okay at the front, but I think Geralt is just bleeding out a little bit too much here. That siege tank will go down. And his supply down by about 40 at this point in time. Thank you, Candace Chain's gifted subs going out to Jaika100, Sport77777, then Dariel, TA Notepad, TT Moore, Crispy Taco, Liquid Milk, Wuyu Sec, Pandora's, and Eco Gallop. Thank you so much for the generosity of 10 gifted subbies. Appreciate it. Thank you so much. Thanks for the generosity, guys. I think, yeah, I think what we're probably gonna have to do is, well, I think we'll probably just have to try and, I don't know. I think we'll probably have to just try the crowdfunding campaign, see what we can do, and then just take what we get and do with that what we can, and just use that as a basis, right? I guess in the end, you can't really have an unsuccessful crowdfunding campaign. Although I do think there should be some goal where it's like, if you know, if we don't hit like X amount, we don't take the money, because we can basically just put on. We wouldn't be able to do like anything better with only a certain amount, anyways, right? So makes sense. It'd be helpful to sync it with other big casts to host events. Yeah, well, I mentioned this at the start, that I think one of the ideas would be like, it'd be good for community content creators to like actually have like a kind of a, like, for example, I think we should like have a good discussion about like maybe having a joint map pool, and maybe we agree that we'll change the map pool at a certain point and talk to people about maps and stuff like that. Like, I think that kind of stuff would be very good, so that like we can have a healthier rotating map pool without every tournament having like 4 random maps that the players have to keep on top of. I think that would be very very nice to have. That's more of a Kickstarter type event. That's exactly what I'm talking about. Well, you can't actually do it on Kickstarter because Kickstarter don't let you prize crowdfund for tournaments. But yes, something. We used Indiegogo last time. So that's what I'm talking about, doing like an actual crowdfunding campaign, so we know how much we have to put into tournaments this year, or to have an extra boost to put on tournaments. Because as I was explaining earlier, there is a lot of benefit to being able to put more money into tournaments straight up before they happen as well. Yeah, there's definitely not enough official tournaments now to, there's definitely not enough official tournaments for the, for us having our own map pool to be a bad thing, you know? And to update it more frequently than the ladder gets updated. Makes sense. Has to help to commit to play the prize pool reach a certain amount. The problem with that is that, like I say, I'm not necessarily looking to, I don't really want to just make one big tournament. I want to crowdfund for like this year of tournaments. Like, I want to, like, because right now we're already gonna have, the idea is already to roughly run like a WardiTV Summer Championship, a European League, and maybe like a Korean-based event or something along those lines. We can make a lot of those much better and much more exciting with more prize money put in from the very start. And then at the end, I want to run WardiTV 2025. I want to bring our end of year championship back. So I want to bring that back and have it tied in. But obviously, like, the whole point is, like, I can do that anyway. Just the potential of it goes up if we get an initial bit of money to start out with, you know? You know what I mean? Like, we just, like, say, for example, like, those tournaments over the course of this next year, so, like, say I put 5k into the Summer Championship, like, 6k over, like, 2 European and Korean events, and then, like, 10k into the end of year championship. That's, like, $20,000. Say if we can raise $10,000, that doesn't stop me putting $20,000 in. It just means I can get more back from my $20,000, because if I put $20,000 in to a $30,000 thing, that can give me more revenue back than putting $20,000 into a $20,000 thing, right? So it's like there's like a direct benefit there, where by having the more money to work with from the start means we can be a bit more ambitious. Things can go a bit better. Like, things can just look better. Like, it has a better outcome as well. Like there's like revolving door of like you put a bit more in, you actually get a bit more coming back out again, right? So I think that's probably the approach. And like it's not going to be the size of a proper circuit. But I wanted to have a circuit feel, and like the thing is as well, like I was talking about this earlier too, if you missed it, this was at the start of the stream, but like I think it's very important to have things people can play in on a more regular basis. Like I think right now we have so many tournaments where you show up, you play your group stage, and you're out, you know, and that's like, that was your tournament you could play in outside of like an open cup for like the next 3 weeks or something. I want to do more things where it's like you can play like your group over like the course of like 3 or 4 weeks, and so you always have something as a player to look forward to, like, hey, you know, I'm a player, I like competing, I can play for $20 to $30 every week, and it builds into a bigger prize pool like at the end. Like it's not just about whatever you can win each week, it's about you're building into something. You know who you're playing against, you know who you're going to be, you know, you have that kind of build-up stuff, you know? Is there a chance of a team tournament like WTL? Not for me. I mean, I maybe WTL will do something, or the Chinese guys will do something, but the good old days of the WardiTV Team League are gone. There's too much organizing for not enough gain. It relegates a lot of people from being able to participate is the problem. So catching up on YouTube chat, will balance updates still occur? I don't see why they would not necessarily, but I don't know how frequently or... Like, the only thing that ESL said is they're not in charge of it anymore, so they're not looking to implement it ahead of the ESL spring season. There's still nothing to stop necessarily the process of, like, the players and the Blizzard guy that implements these things still coming to agreements to put stuff into the game still. We need more tournaments that in a group can help players keep playing SC2. I have one big money tournament, only most of the players won't get money. Yeah, exactly. That's exactly, I think, what we need to approach. That's what I want to try and do. Does Bjorn still call me captain? No, not for a while. Good days are gone. Hmm. Oh, some string on my keyboard. Alright, we're gonna cast the creator ring match as well, guys. Get that ready in a sec. Just trying to get the string out of my keyboard and go. Don't even know what it's from. PwC had to purchase the rights from ESL to even play StarCraft this last year? No, I don't think that's true at all. I think ESL went to eSports World Cup and were like, hey, we have the ESL Pro Tour for StarCraft 2. If you give us a bunch of money, you know, if you're going to put money into tournament prize pools anyway, do it for StarCraft 2 and we can bring our product to your stage. Also, ESL and WC have a lot of overlaps, so... I don't think anyone purchased the rights. I think EWC, like, you can say they purchased the rights by putting up the prize money, but like, I just don't think it was quite like that. It's not how I would. It's not how I would view it, I suppose. It's not how I would look at it, I guess is the... I wouldn't think of it as buying the rights as they were just willing to put up a high prize pool. And by putting up a high prize pool, that was like, you know, all we needed, I guess. Anyways, doesn't really matter now. ESL no longer the... I mean, ESL didn't make, like, people still could go to Blizzard and be like, hey, we want to run a tournament. It was just, you would have to move around the fact that, like, ESL kind of run the circuit. You would never be allowed to run the same weekend as an ESL tournament and stuff. Because ESL were putting on the circuit, right? Like, that just makes sense. That should just be logical. Sorry. I'm trying to read and I'm getting confused. Alright. There's Showtime. Showtime's already in the main portion of the tournament. Yeah, he doesn't need to play the qualifiers. How's it, Maddox? Hello, hello. Alright, let's enjoy this Creative Room series. Like I say, guys, again, just in case you just joining and so on, today is not really as much of a casting day as much as it's discussing StarCraft day, so if I get carried away with chat and don't talk as much about the game, that is very much so to be expected today, pretty much. What about Ellie talk? We can have Ellie talk, but Ellie's just sulking downstairs, I think. Sulking away. She's gonna have, we're going out tonight. She's going to daycare for the evening, so she's gonna have a great time later. Of course, there's another qualifying matchup as Creator puts one forward gateway down, so he's going to bring the pressure here pretty early on. Charities don't run off one-off donations. No, they don't. I think that's why it's important just to be like... I mean, obviously, we always get support on the stream and stuff. Like, a crowdfunding campaign is meant to give us that. The point of the crowdfunding campaign would be give us a boost of money to make better events with for the rest of this year. That does not guarantee us going into next year, but it could give us a better foundation to go into next year with anyways. If we get to run better events and we can bring the stream up a bit, then it gives us a better foundation to work on from there as well, right? You know what I mean? Like, so... And the way streaming works is that you're generally consistently trying to bring in support and so on. But if you can bring in more people to potentially get more support, then that's always going to be a factor. So, yeah. I think it's going to be worth giving it a go. Like I say, it's just a bit weird because like when we've done crowdfunding campaigns in the past, it's been specifically for, hey, this is for the cast of Civil War, or hey, this is for the Korean Royale, not this is just for WardiTV events this year. I just don't know if that's, like I say, that my whole point of this conversation was like, I don't know if that's just more off-putting to people because they're like, oh, I don't know what specific tournament it's going to. Like, I really, you know, I get cast of Civil War is very unique, or Korean Royale was specifically to help Korea and stuff. So, yeah, I don't know if the idea of it being behind like just like a, hey, let's try and boost up our tournaments for the year. I don't know if that's just like too broad of a spectrum to do it on, but I think we're just gonna give it a go. We've had fairly positive responses. It's too ambiguous. It is, well, it is ambiguous. But it's not like it's okay. It's not just like, hey, we don't know what this money's going to go on, but it'll go on tournaments. It's, hey, we're going to run this set of tournaments, and this is the general plan. You can help us to make these better. I think the front page Twitch for Mondays help boost the overall viewership. That's tomorrow, so not tomorrow. That's on Monday. That's this Monday coming up, so I guess we'll see. Probably not though. Usually front page is like a really nice one-day thing. Maybe a couple people join, like, whoa, StarCraft. But I think front page is much better for streamers who need discoverability. I don't know how much discoverability there is in terms of like people who want to watch StarCraft tournaments that don't already, you know. But we will still take the one day of, you know, I'm still going to take the one day of better viewership. I need like 2 million to spread out over the years. Pro games can actually have jobs from playing. Yeah, well, that's how StarCraft has worked for the past many years. Like, I mean, we're not gonna overtake. I'm never going to be the person that is making sure players are having, you know, a full-on career. I just want to make sure we continue to have StarCraft, and whether that's just supporting some players that can, you know, continue to put time into StarCraft while they do other things with their life as well. Which is why I think some of the different formats are important to give players a chance. Like, for example, we don't run anything in the European-friendly time zone right now as well. So if you're a European player that has, like, a job or school, you just can't participate in WardiTV tournaments. So that's something I'd like to fix a little bit as well. Yeah, we're never going to raise an amount where it's going to be like, we are literally giving enough people, you know, this is going to be their job playing in WardiTV tournaments. The point is to have community stuff to help bolster anything else that comes around that's bigger, and to help, you know, give more people reason to at least stay somewhat active. It can go a long way as well, I think, in the grand scheme of things. I mean that's just a shift StarCraft 2 is going to have to see. There's no stopping that. We can just make it as positive a shift as possible, basically. He's trying to get underneath that prism. Colossus pulling away, a couple of SCVs pulling through. I mean, Rung took so much damage off the early gateway units. This is obviously pretty horrendous for him. He's on one base. He has to win with this push, and the Colossus is already able to do very well against the Marines. The tank's obviously just going to bunny hop forward a little bit here. As I'm about to pull forward that hallucinated Archon. I didn't hate the idea. But Rung stims, and a stimmer is already expensive. Like, these medevacks, there's a medevac, it doesn't have that much energy. Like, stims are killing these Marines without anything else happening just yet. Colossus goes to hunt down reinforcements, but they are actually coming across in drips and drabs, and not actually in this direction. We're going to commit. I mean, we don't really need to commit. Tanks aren't really hitting anything meaningful right now. Like, one battery goes down, but yes, but then, you know, there's a bunker coming up, so maybe you do want to go a little bit, but I think Creator also knows that he's in a position where the longer this goes, the more stuff he just gets. And I don't think he's that afraid of this position of Rion getting that much better. Like, one bunker I don't think actually makes a major difference in this position by the time we could, you know, bust out of this. And yeah, shutting down some reinforcements too, which obviously going to be nice. Looks as though it's going to be go time now. As Creator chooses, this is the moment to pounce. Colossus in the back goes down. Colossus took a bit of a beam, but pulls away to the battery. It's going to be a very, it's going to be a very comfortable breakout from Creator getting out towards the center of the map. Alright, I'm going to get Creator Rion coming up for game 2. Get this going. I'm just going to run a round of ads here, guys, just because otherwise they're going to run in the middle of the game, so just take a moment before we start. What I'm talking about sounds like what Caldo does for HOTS, but he has a couple of people drop very large domes to keep it rolling. Yeah, I mean, like I say, the basis, the good basis that we have is at least we're not trying to make something out of nothing. Like, we already do this stuff, right? We already make these tournaments. We already have some stream income to make them with, right? So that's like one of the big bonuses that we do have is we have the foundation to do this from. It's not like StarCraft 2 just had its life support cut. You know what, the funny thing with Heroes was that Heroes never really had that grassroots element because Blizzard kind of took it and whisked it into the Hero Championship series and they made it way bigger and more professional than it ever needed to be, and there was never, because they were so aggressive with it, there was never any time for grassroots to grow. So for Heroes, the grassroots guys almost had to like, they had to become grassroots out of nowhere. Like, we've at least had our roots planted in StarCraft 2 for a long time already, you know? Which is nice. Makes our life a lot easier. Like, in this sort of situation, it's generally a pretty big positive, I would say. I think it's very reasonable. I mean, now it's just about trying to step up to do as much as we can to help, like I say, ease the transitionary period. Like, realistically, that's all we can try and do. Because I don't think anyone's gonna give me millions of dollars. So we gotta be kind of realistic, you know. We gotta be kind of realistic, if nothing else. Is there a brokerage business in esports? You can contact businesses on your behalf. Not really in esports. That kind of exists for streamers. It's a bit different when you're like running a tournament. Oh, the problem is it's very difficult to get that kind of money in StarCraft 2 because you just don't have... we don't have the viewership to, or the way to prove that we'd have the viewership to kind of get that kind of stuff, you know? So it's just not really... it's not really realistic. You're in Adland? Oh, I basically just said that, like, HOTS had the issue of, like, it only had a pro scene or a pro level scene or, like, the professional kind of aspect. It didn't have as much grassroots stuff. But, like, the StarCraft 2 grassroots stuff and community stuff is already very heavily baked into StarCraft 2, so hopefully that will ease the transition period. Like, we already make money to run events. The majority of what I'm talking about is trying to make it so we can run some better events to help make this period more comfortable to transition into, and so on and so forth, you know? Just use bots to pad viewers? Holy shit, we've hacked the system! Oh my god, why didn't I think of that? We're gonna, oh my god, I'm gonna be a millionaire. Holy. Right at bottom left, Ryung upper right as we get into game 2 of the series. This year is no full-time pros, the skill level will decrease if they're part-time pros. That is true. The great thing about StarCraft 2 is that StarCraft 2 matches can still be extremely fun and entertaining as long as you have players who have similar skill to each other. That's the most important thing. StarCraft 2, I think, is a game that actually stands very good on its own two legs, even when the players aren't Clem and Cyril. You know? Like, there has to be some aspect and some level of, like, you know, I'm not just watching the... like, it's got to be fun to watch because, you know, watching me float, like, thousands of resources and be like, well, Wardy's completely dominating the Zerg in the fights, but he can't macro for shit, so this game's even and competitive isn't very fun. But, like, as long as the players are at a similar level and back and forthing and, like, you know, at a certain point, I think StarCraft 2 is always actually very fun to watch. I think the perception on that will change a lot as well, based on how the scene develops, too. Like, there'll always be people who think to, like, back to the glory days of, like, peak Cyril, peak Clem or whatever, but... like, that doesn't mean that the game will, you know, is unwatchable or anything, right? So... you guys have been inspired by all the chat today, you can do some things to help for free. You can follow the Twitch channel so you want to live with more StarCraft 2 content. You can like and subscribe if you're on the YouTube. It's also free to do so. And of course, if you do want to support beyond that, obviously you can Prime sub on Twitch. You can sub regularly. Mention the Patreon page. That's a great place to check out if you want to support StarCraft 2 tournaments specifically. 100% of the pledges on Patreon go to tournament prize pools. That's patreon.com/WardiTV. We just had our largest Patreon month ever. So that's one thing out of everything else that's not going so hot. Like I mentioned, the sub counts may be down and stuff. The Patreon page is actually better than ever right now. So that's really cool. If nothing else, people are definitely behind supporting the tournaments there. So that's pretty sick. Can I link the YouTube? Yep. You should be able to find it from there. A couple of lanes coming through as we just settle in to a game 2 right now of this qualifying match. Creator won. I think he's been in all of the qualifying matches this week already, so it'd be nice to see him try actually get a win on one. Would be cool. You can see Banshee and Cloak from Ryung, so really going to go on the harassment-heavy setup so far. I'm just going to step across. Yeah, tank coming through, a couple of Marines coming up, a Cloakman coming online. So far the Hellions have done absolutely nothing though, so good defense, just right in the right position at the right time so far. Obviously, we'll give you some more information and vision here as creators, so we step over with that, try to see a little bit of what's going on. Not sure why I suggest such a lack of new players that compete. Because StarCraft 2 is built so heavily on the idea of mechanics, and it takes just so much practice to get to that sort of level. It's just genuinely a very difficult game. And a lot of people cap out. Well, a lot of people plateau way before they get to that highest of levels. And a lot of people just don't have the reason to keep going to reach that highest of levels, you know? It's difficult. There's a fascinating concept as our Stalker's just going to come through. A couple of Hellions getting shot at, getting chased away. The Banshee on the left-hand side is going to go pinging through onto the pylon. Some damage being done there. A couple of probes still taking shots as well. He'd be a pro-level player with incentive to play more. Yeah, I mean, if I hadn't had to stop and start casting and stuff, you know? Me too. Me too. It's the highest rank in a multiplayer game you've reached and you suck at games. That's what your teammates say. There's something nice about StarCraft being a 1v1 game, though. I've been playing a fair bit of Marvel Rivals lately, and holy goodness. You're not just playing the enemy team, you're playing against your own team so frequently, it's frustrating as shit. GoPro's going down, fourth Nexus down the bottom side, we get that set up. Again, upgrade coming through, the attack upgrade coming about, the concussor shells is going to be on its way. You got the extra marauders coming up also. Stop the stalkers trying to fight the marine marauder. Going to be firing some shots, and now going to see Creator diving into the main base as he's pulling Ryung out onto the map. So here comes this little combo attack as we get the extra zealots warping in. That comes over. Creator actually gets supply blocked here. Bottom right side is getting chased off as well. The stalker's getting pushed back. Oh, fairly decent trade across the board so far. Again, those few SCVs going down. Rest of that bio just moving back over. I'm just going to be seeing the Medivacs doing some healing. Pro's going down. Got the Nexus coming about, the gateway and the cannon coming online. Add a pylon in, put the armory down in the main base, and the stalkers will step up and Marauder getting shot at. Gonna get the zealot going down on either side. Just gonna have ourselves the potential to take this gold base. I mean, if Gray's doing nothing else, he's just expanding, which is gonna put you in a very good position moving forward. And +2 still coming about. We get that set up for the moment. Let's take the watchtower in the top left. See the bio coming down the right side. I'm just going to take the watchtower, and we have the Dark Shrine coming up. Add some batteries, add some cannons. 6th base just going to be finishing in a few moments as the Bioforce continues to come about. A couple ghosts still gathering together. Step straight through. That CC lands up on the 12 o'clock, and we have ourselves a few probes just mining up on the gold mineral line. So the gold mineral line gonna get mining, and not really much else happening at the moment. I mean, just Creator just expanding, and to be honest, that personally to me becomes a problem for Ryung. Creator's gonna have so much economy. He's so well set up. Extra Stargates coming in. Shadow Strides are getting DT Blink ready. Like, he's just gonna have option after option after option of what he can do in this game. There's a few Vikings move about. The army of Creator thinking about coming around the bottom side. And he gets picked off as well, and still just seeing another Wooden Mine shooting. Fire will continue to stim up. Stalker drops immediately. This Immortal goes down. Server gets picked off, and we continue to just chase straight through here. The Zealot going down as well. The Vikings going to hit the Colossus. More Stalkers continue to warp in as we just try and push on forward. The Zealots and the Adepts and the Stalkers continue to come through. Ryung has to back away one more time. The army down the right side. Going to be somewhere he can try and go to otherwise, but he's getting chased heavily at the moment, losing a lot of units here. Doesn't even kill the DT with this scan, which is a little bit of a disaster all in all. We'll continue to aggressively chase Marauders. Multiple Marauders going down. Bio on the bottom. Coming straight through. Focus blink straight across. A couple of tanks going to fire. The Vikings still doing their thing. I mean, Creator is taking a very good fight for himself. This has just been him chasing Ryung back, pushing him around. He loses a base on the 6 o'clock, but that's so minimal considering the grand scheme of things here at the moment. As our Stalker's come across, we're going to hit this orbital command as well. A couple of refineries going down, the bunker taking damage. Once again, the medevacs load up and peel on out of there, so just going to take some steps out. Another disruptor shot will just land on a marine. A couple other Zalts come through. Another disruptor going down. The sentries going to get chased. The DTs are still very much so stepping in as well. There goes the Colossus. There go the DTs. Zalts still coming across, and the Bioforce will get rid of this Nexus in a moment. Or not, because that gets cleaned up too. I mean, Rung is down a lot of supply. Looks as though Creator will be comfortably taking this qualifying spot here. Extra Marauder still full. Creator gathers to the top side. Bio Army gathers up as well. Scanning out. Viking goes down. Again, we're just chasing him. You got so much as Creator. You can run into all of these fights. Any sort of trade is good for you at the moment because you're just so heavily outmanning your opponent. If you're getting rid of units, it's difficult for Young to deal with. Plain and simple. It's difficult for you to trade badly enough right now that it's going to be like mattering. Like, as long as you're killing something, like, there's a lot of fights where, like, if you run and lose everything and you don't kill a thing, yes, that's going to be bad. But in the way that this is going, there's L's chasing through. It's difficult for Creator to truly trade badly enough. It's going to go the wrong way. GG's. Young. I'm going to tap out, and Creator gets a 2-0 win to qualify him into the Spring Championship. Congrats to Creator on getting that qualifying spot. Alright, so that's our qualifier for the day wrapped up, guys. Bunny and Creator will join the rest of the squad in the Spring Championship. We'll have one final qualifier tomorrow. What's amazing is that we already have more times tomorrow's qualifier than we had for today's almost. So yes, we'll have tomorrow's qualifier coming through again. That'll be a lot of fun. Looking forward to that. And yeah. That's going to be it for StarCraft, guys. I'm going to throw us to a break screen. I might come back and do some non-StarCraft stuff and just chitter-chat for a bit and continue the StarCraft chat. I'm just going to go check. I think that's probably cool for 2 hours or so, but I'll go check and I'll see you guys in a few. BRB. I've recruited Ali to come and talk to the stream, guys. Hey. Hi, Ali. What are your thoughts on the future of StarCraft? Why do you look always so afraid over here? I don't understand. You always look so terrified when we're over here. I wonder if I like talk differently on stream so she like senses like a different vibe and she's just like I don't know. Oh, it's so sad looking. It's insane though. It's just my vibe. You should see the pictures of when she goes to, like, daycare and stuff. She's having the time of her life. It's just my vibe when I stream. But looking at the computer and ignoring her, it heavily upsets her. Heavily upsets her. Understandable. Understandable. Oh. Ellie has on my microphone. Alright, guys. So I'm gonna turn the YouTube stream off as we are done with the StarCraft for the day. So thanks for watching YouTube. I'll catch you guys a bit later on.